Hey Aries, I am looking at the month of June 2025 for Aries. So I'm going to go ahead and pop the chart up and look at what is going on for the sign of Aries. I was very surprised when I popped the chart and looked at all this happening in the sign of Aries. Um, for the beginning of June, it starts out with Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, and Venus in your first house. So there is quite a heavy duty. I would say that that's quite a heavy energy for Aries, a time to get very serious and committed about something. If this is your rising sign, then it's hitting in your first house, which means you're starting to really take your time serious, like you're starting to feel, shall we say, the pressure of time upon you. It can be kind of depressing to have Saturn in your first house. That's kind of a heavy vibe. But then Neptune is there too. So that's almost like there could be, it depends where you are as a person right now in your life, Aries. If you're in a place where you're not happy with where you are, then you're feeling perhaps a depression about where you are or a lack of optimism. And now with Neptune there, you're trying to visualize or come into some newer, better ideal and what can you do to reach a better ideal? Or you're coming into a very serious place about realizing that you're where you really want to be and where you are is a big difference. And you've got to get serious about something in order to get where you want to be. And Neptune there is giving everyone, Neptune at 0 degrees Aries, a very bold new start in a dream, in a aspiration of some sort. So this is a very big time for Aries, probably more so than any other sign, being that Neptune and Saturn are in your first house. So it's time to become more mature and take on more responsibilities about something for the next 2.5 to 3 years. And it can also indicate Aries is the head, ideas, desire, motivation, drive. So there's a lot of drive and energy boosted in your chart right now to initiate some bold new beginning, which I may have already said. But with Venus there at Chiron there, you're working on your self-belief and you're working on your confidence and you're working on, I mean, it's going to sound corny, but loving yourself and appreciating yourself and indulging in a way with Venus in your first house in what you desire and what you want. And it is a selfish energy. The energy of Aries is selfish. So you're definitely going to a place of challenging and healing insecurities with that Chiron in your first house, as well as perhaps illnesses and accidents occurring with that there during we've had Mars squaring in and all kinds of interesting transits all year. So there may have been, I'm pulling cards for Aries. So there may have been some really tough experiences there with that Chiron in the first house. But now we've got Venus about to move into your second house in the month of June here, um, where you're going to start seeing a new some sort of financial expansion because it's sextiling Jupiter in your third house, which is interesting because the third house is media, writing projects, ideas, short distance travel, neighborhood, people that are around you on a day to day. So there's some sort of new idea about income. This is all beginning. I mean, wow, we really are looking. This is a brand new era, guys. We are completely changing timelines. I mean, we've got all these planets shifting. We've got in June, we're going to have Saturn at 0 degrees, Venus at 0 degrees, Jupiter is going to go into 0 degrees here in a minute, too. There it is. I mean, we're shifting a whole entire era. So for Aries, you're going to feel this some sort of new financial auspicious new beginning involving a business, writing projects, communication, media. Right, I said it could be skill with your hand, learning a new skill. Um, Now, so your ruling planet, let's take a look at what's happening at this period with your ruling planet when Venus initiates into Taurus. Your ruling planet is Mars making a trine to Chiron. Wow, that's a nice energy, isn't it? That's like my confidence is there. I'm healed. I'm ready to take some bold initiatives and initiate courageously. Um, and with Venus sextiling Jupiter there, we've got some exciting new idea and venture of a way to make money in a very stable, grounded, calm, practical way. But it could very well involve the Jupiter and Gemini in the third house energy, which is most likely writing, production, selling, businesses. What else could it be? Media, podcasting, filming, um, journalism, teaching, learning, and it involves Jupiter, which is about learning new media, learning new inventions, new ideas. Okay, so there we are up until June 6th, Aries. So up until June 6th, that's a nice beginning of the month for you guys. And your ruling planet, we're always going to focus on your ruling planet as we go through the reading. And then we've got and another really nice thing that's happening at the beginning. Although Moon opposite Chiron can be triggery, there can be some relationship issues showing up that trigger your insecurities or your feelings of confidence. There is going to be some kind of a polarity because this is about a selfish energy and this is about giving too much in relationships. So there is some balance being established for Aries in their give and take in relationships and healing themselves. So probably some sort of healing involving in the Aries self-confidence or believing in themselves. That's healing with the Chiron in your first house with that moon challenging it. It shows that you've healed and you stay in your center and you're not over um overly imbalanced in a relationship, which I don't think Aries tend to be. So let's put it this way. Maybe Aries are waking up to being less selfish in a relationship and stepping forward out more into balancing towards their relationship more. So there's some sort of balancing going on between relationships and at the beginning of the month or when the moon is in Libra, they're opposite Chiron. Some healing involved around low self-esteem and the dynamic in relationships that causes toxic imbalances. Put it that way. All right. So where are we now? We are at Venus in Taurus, sextiling Jupiter. That is a great new beginning, initiating a financial new inspired, Jupiter is like Jupiter. I had these interesting notes about Jupiter. Sagittarius, hope, inspiration, and purpose, truth, love, and wisdom. So that's great. That's the energy of here because that's Jupiter and Gemini making a sextile to Venus in its most auspicious energy. So that's great. And then we've also got a sextile to Mercury from Venus there, sextiling Mercury as well, because Mercury is conjoining Jupiter, which is really rapid ideas. I forgot that Mercury was even in on that conjunction, which is racing ideas and solutions to projects and communication. And there with the water emotion, there it's very emotional too. Um, and Leo again, your ruling planet. It's squaring Mars, interestingly, and I'm squaring Uranus, which is a surprising disruption. But that Mercury sextiling and squaring Saturn too. Wow, that's like a shift of direction happening in this month because we have these 0 degree Mercury, which is going to join Jupiter, squaring Saturn 0 degrees. We are definitely shifting destiny to more an aligned dharmic path. And that's happening in your fourth house. So there's a change and a shift in your living situation, moving, or shall we say, also with Mercury there, selling, buying property, real estate, a new real estate or living situations, planning, signing a contract, selling, you could be selling property, ending a contracted property, which is like selling, ending a contract, moving, ending a rental agreement kind of a situation. Anyway, and then Jupiter is going to move into this house there, joining Mercury on the 9th. And then we've got that square. So there are some delays, some disruptions, some terminations, endings of perhaps relationship, leaving home, moving, maybe again, that energy. Um, It's opposite the descendant, so there could be involved divorces, ending of relationships, but these are big shifts. I mean, we're really looking at a whole ending of big chapters and initiating a 30, 29-year-old chapter here. But again, we're reaching for a more ideal living experience with that Neptune there. So with this Mercury squaring Saturn there, there's a change of mind, a change of direction, but again, all imposed upon by Saturn. And Saturn is in its fall in the sign of Aries. It does not really operate that great in the sign of Aries because it's a slow energy, Saturn, and then Aries is a speedy energy. So there's this stop, start, square. Jupiter is like a hope, inspiration, and an idea with Mercury there wanting to race into an idea. But then Saturn saying, hold your horses, hold back, make sure it's practical, make sure things are in alignment. So it's a push and pull energy, but also with this Jupiter is going to start accelerating into the fourth house. So for the year, you're going to have Jupiter in your fourth house, expanding your property, real estate. Jupiter's in its exaltation, and as it comes out of combustion in mid-July, we're going to see a releasing of the struggles involved around these properties and around whatever that square is bringing up in the life of the Aries. But we are seeing a big shift because whenever you get these big planets squaring the angular houses, those are the houses that you're going to see changes, which is career, living, identity, relationships, and living situation. Then we have there is going to be a South Node and Mars conjunction, but I think that happens in July. So let's see what else is happening in June. That is significant. We do have on the 11th, we have the full moon in Sagittarius in the third house for Aries, which is again a potentially moving and shifting your location. Full moons have seen to see perhaps siblings pass away, but or neighborhood changes, people that are around you shift and change. A friend could pass away. I've seen this happen so many times. That's why I bring it up. But basically, there is but this full moon is in the ninth house, so there's a sort of that's actually more of the full moon is in the third house. So anyway, the full moon in the ninth house is some sort of big spiritual travel, writing, philosophy, astrology, waking up energy, new ideas, new perceptions, very inspired again with that Sagittarius energy, but there is a square to the nodes. So this full moon again and squares the nodes, which is part of this Jupiter square. Jupiter, which rules this full moon, is squaring Saturn. So we are really literally changing whole new chapters, whole new lives, whole new beginnings, a whole shift in direction, and things moving very quickly because these are fire energies. Mars, your ruling planet, is in fire. Gemini and this Mercury energy, those are quick, fast fire, lightning energies. And the sun is in your third house, which is like, again, a busy time, busy energies for Aries. What else are we looking at here? In June. So that was the full moon. It does again square the nodes. So you're looking at some sort of breakthrough with this energy because it's in the ninth house and it's a belief and it's perception breakthrough, revelations, like you see something, revelations that make you go, this is the way we're going to go. I'm going to change my direction based on that revelation. The nodes are in your 12th house in Pisces. So there is definitely, and it's forming this beautiful trine and angles to the Saturn here. So there's definitely a ease of a desire to take this new direction. This is not, even though Saturn is causing a square and delays and frustrations perhaps, or what do you call them, disruptions, the North Node and the external planets there, Uranus, Jupiter, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, Neptune, the nodes. It's like there's that beautiful kite. Actually, the kite is that angle is going to Saturn. So it's like there's an excitement about this new beginning. There's a desire for it. It's inspired, and there's a will. It aligns with the will of the Aries. It's going to align with your fire. You're going to want to do this. Beautiful trine to the moon here on that full moon to Chiron. So these are results of having new confidence and belief in yourself. Venus in your second house is going to bring you more belief in yourself. And it's going to bring you some sort of financial boost. So you're going to start having a bit of faith in the universe here. So this is great. And that full moon is trining your Mars and your Chiron. This is a very empowered full moon for Aries. Empowering full moon and fire. That creates a dharma. That creates the, what do you call in Vedic? They call it the Kendra, Kendra Trikone, which is the Dharma and the car and the Kendra houses, which are your cardinal houses, which are the houses that really shift in these when they're hit, they really shift. But then when it makes a trine to the Dharma house, it's called Kendra Dharma Trikon. It's extremely blessed with very good financial positive, shall we say, influences and potential. Beautiful time for Aries. I'm getting excited for you. Okay, so now let's see what else goes on in this month that is of significance. I know we have a new moon in the sign of Gemini. Um, was it you? No, I'm sorry, not Gemini. Where's the new moon? I've got my notes here. The new moon is in Cancer. Yes, new moon in Cancer, right on that Jupiter, basically. So let's go back to Aries on the ascendant. Hang on, I messed it all up here. Put Aries on the ascendant. Um, so there's Aries on the ascendant. There is Jupiter moving into the sign. Oh, wait, how did I keep Aries on the ascendant? Now I go to day. It should stay with Aries on the ascendant. So there's Jupiter in the, Jupiter goes into the fourth house, making a square to Saturn, and the sun is combusting Jupiter, which basically puts Jupiter and all Jupiter things basically on sleep mode. So these beautiful transits of Jupiter and Cancer, we're not going to really experiencing it for a while, but we do, in other words, out of combustion, which looks like, and mid to end of June, we're going to start seeing it open up. But the nice thing that's happening too is that there's going to be Venus and Taurus conjoining in your second house of financing. And that's going to make a beautiful trine to Mercury, oh, sorry, Mercury, yes, yes, kind of, yes. And that is, again, a financial windfall or breakthrough of some sort and involving Mercury writing. It's in the sign of Leo, creative self-expression, and second house is often creative projects. This is a very creative writing, creative, and it can also involve creative projects involving real estate and property. Or if this would go into your fifth house Aries, because this is your fifth house, creative projects or having children. I mean, this is a really great month. Other than that square, the Jupiter Saturn square, but you're not, well, Saturn is in your Aries. Otherwise, I would say you're not as impacted, but you're super impacted by that. But, it's in the sign of Mars that rules you. So Mercury opposing Pluto could be a trigger point if that hits your chart. If you've got a negative aspect to Pluto in your chart, that could be scary news that triggers you. But again, that is only a short day or two transit. So where are we? We are now in July. So let's go back to that new moon in Cancer I was going to talk about. So the new moon in your third house, very again, media-centric type ideas, media writing. It's just this theme of writing and business ideas and media, podcasting. It's going to be, by the way, in your fourth house. I'm sorry, that new moon is in your fourth house, but um, um, why did I say media? Because Mercury is there as well. So it's possible that, but you see, now Jupiter in the sign of Cancer and a new moon in Cancer is very much about home, and it's in a real in your real estate house of the chart. So you've got these new beginnings with perhaps we could say, I will go the other way, uh, home projects, new family, you could get pregnant and have a child. New writing, again, writing and media projects at home, which because Jupiter is in a very, very exalted state. So if it's your dharma and if it's what you're here to do, it could be a really positive expansion for a project, media project, again, dharmic, but ultimately Jupiter in Cancer wants to create long-term security, a home base, strong new home base beginning, perhaps moving somewhere that you're going to stay for a long time. And So that new moon is a new family, a new position where you feel very stable and secure with Venus in your second house. That's great. You know, Venus is going to be sextiles that Mercury there, and it's like a new stable foundation is occurring in your life with that Saturn in the first house and this and Jupiter in your fourth, where you feel like you're really going to be stable for a good long-term home situation, stabilizing. You've become someone who's more stable. You've become someone who's more reliable, and you've become someone who can now develop a long-term stable home and family situation. So that's it for June. Let me just make sure I know. Let me pop through. Well, we have the sun, of course, moving into Cancer as well on that new moon, which shifts the energies when the sun moves into Cancer. But that, let me just quickly check my notes before I move on. I just want to make sure I have all the transits in. What else do we have here? New moon. Mercury enters Leo. That's a creative fire energy. Again, these are fiery trichones, that Dharma, Kendra Dharmic tricone, which is really beneficial when you get all these fire energies that are causing trines in for Aries. The things move very quickly with inspiration, motivation, confidence, courage. Great month for Aries. I hope that was helpful and you enjoyed that. Feel free to like and subscribe and leave a comment. And if you would like a personal reading, feel free to contact me. All right, namaste.